If I had gone straight home that night, I never would have slept in his guest room. If I had not slept in his guest room, his mom never would have stood in front of me later and say words that still ring in my head. Her voice was low and sure when she said, "I am not just a mom tonight. My name is Jake. I am 23 and I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in Denver. It is the kind of place where the heater rattles in the winter and the neighbor across the hall burns something in his kitchen at least once a week. I work help desk at a local software company. Most days I sit at a desk with a headset on and talk people through problems that could be fixed by reading the first line of the manual. It is not a bad life. I go to work, I hit the gym some nights, I play games with my friends online. I had a girlfriend last year. We lasted 4 months. She told me I lived in my head too much. She said I was always thinking about something I never said. She was not wrong. There has always been one person who sits in that quiet part of my mind. My best friend's mom. My best friend is Mark. We met in 8th grade when we both got stuck as partners in science class. He made a dumb joke about the frog we had to dissect. I laughed when I should not have, and the teacher yelled at both of us. We have been friends ever since. He is loud where I am quiet, fast to talk where I take my time. Somehow it works. Mark lives out in the suburbs with his mom in a tan 2-story house with white trim and a small yard. I have been there so many times it almost feels like a second home. At least that is what I tell myself. His mom's name is Claire. She is 42. I remember the first time I saw her. We were 16. Mark had invited me over for the first time. I was standing in their driveway holding my backpack and trying to act like I was not nervous. The front door opened and she stepped out, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She had dark hair pulled back in a loose bun, a simple blue shirt, jeans, no fancy makeup. She smiled at me, this warm, open smile that hit me harder than I expected. "Hey, you must be Jake," she said. "I have heard a lot about you." I muttered something like, "Good things I hope," and she laughed. It was a soft laugh, but it filled the space. Back then I just thought, wow, Mark's mom is pretty. I pushed the thought down fast. She was married then. Mark's dad was still around. They were a family. Later, when Mark's dad died in a car accident our senior year, the house changed. Mark changed. So did she. She kept everything going. She worked full-time as a physical therapist. She made sure Mark finished school, filled the fridge, paid the bills. She did all of it with a kind of quiet strength that I could not stop noticing. Her eyes always carried a little tired shadow after that, but she still smiled when we came in the door. She still asked if we were hungry. By the time I was living on my own, I did not see her as just my best friend's mom. I saw the way she held herself when she thought no one was looking. The way her shoulders dropped when she finally sat down after a long day. The way her eyes softened when she listened. I told myself it was just respect. Just admiration. Maybe I was lying to myself even then. That Thursday started like any other. I was at the office, watching the clock tick past 6 while the glow of my monitor made my eyes ache. Outside, snow and rain mixed in the air and slapped against the windows. The weather report said a winter storm warning was in effect. I was thinking about my small apartment and my old windows and wondering if the draft would be worse than last year. My phone buzzed. It was my landlord. "Hey Jake," he said, "we got a problem in the building. A pipe burst above your unit. We shut the water off, but your place is kind of a mess." I sat up. "What do you mean a mess?" "Ceiling and carpet got soaked," he said. "We have a crew coming tomorrow to handle it, but you cannot stay there tonight. The smell alone will knock you over." For a second, I just listened to the office noise. Around me, keyboards clicking, phones ringing. Somewhere down the hall, someone laughed. I rubbed my forehead. "So what am I supposed to do tonight?" "Hotel, friend, whatever," he said. "I will knock a bit off next month's rent. It will be fine." Then he hung up. I did not have family in town. My parents moved to Florida 2 years ago. Most of my co-workers were just that, co-workers. We were cool during the day, but not the kind of close where you asked to crash on their couch. My only real answer was Mark. I texted him, "Dude, pipe burst above my place. Landlord says I cannot stay there tonight. Any chance I can crash at your house?" He wrote back almost right away. "Relax, man. Mom will say yes. Get over here." An hour later, I was driving through slushy streets, my backpack on the seat beside me with some clothes and my laptop stuffed inside. The sky was dark and low. Streetlights turned everything a dull yellow. When I turned into Mark's neighborhood, it felt like a different world. Big trees, clean sidewalks, quiet houses with soft porch lights. His house was the same as always. 2 stories, front porch, a small swing that creaked when the wind pushed it. Warm light came from the front windows. I parked by the curb, pulled my jacket tight, and walked up the path. My breath came out in a cloud in front of me. Before I could knock, the door opened. Mark stood there in sweatpants and a worn hoodie, grinning. "There he is," he said. "Homeless Jake. Get in here." The blast of warm air hit me as I stepped inside. The house smelled like tomato sauce and garlic, like someone had cooked real food instead of the microwave stuff I lived on. The entryway was familiar. Pictures on the wall. Mark as a kid in a Little League uniform. Mark with his dad at a lake. A family photo with all 3 of them, before everything changed. Then she appeared at the end of the hall. Claire walked in from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She wore a soft gray sweater and black leggings, simple and neat. Her hair was down, falling over her shoulders. Her eyes met mine, and, for a second, the noise in my head went quiet. "Jake," she said, voice warm. "Mark told me about your apartment. I am sorry you are dealing with that. You can stay here tonight." "Thank you, Mrs. Harris," I said out of habit. Something like amusement touched her mouth. "Jake," she said, "we have known each other for almost 8 years. You can call me Claire." The name felt strange and right at the same time. "Okay," I said. "Thank you, Claire." Mark clapped a hand on my shoulder. "You can take the guest room," he said. "Real bed, Real door, no couch this time. Mom even washed the sheets." I laughed. "That already sounds better than my place." We ate dinner at the table, the 3 of us. Big bowl of pasta, garlic bread, a salad that Mark pretended to hate and still ate. He talked about work at the auto shop. She listened and asked him about customers and cars, and if he had worn his gloves like she always told him. When she turned to me, her eyes were steady. "How is work, Jake?" she asked. "Still saving people from their own computers?" "Something like that," I said. "You would be surprised how many people forget their own passwords twice in one day." She smiled, and it hit me again how soft her face could look when she really smiled. "Must take a lot of patience," she said. "Most days I just mute the call and count to 10, I said. "Then I unmute and sound helpful." She laughed, this low sound that made my chest feel warm. Mark rolled his eyes. "My mom thinks you are a saint," he said. "Do not encourage her." He shot her a grin, and she reached over to flick his wrist. It all felt so normal, so easy, that I almost forgot I was only there because my own place was a wet mess. Almost. After dinner, Mark and I flopped on the couch in the living room and watched a game while Claire cleaned up in the kitchen. Now and then I glanced over and saw her moving around the sink, the stove, the counters. Quiet, steady, efficient. There was something about the way she owned every part of this house that pulled at me. She did not look fragile. She looked tired and strong at the same time. By 10, the game was over. Mark stretched and checked his phone. "Man," he said, "I almost forgot to tell you. I have to be at the shop at 6 in the morning. Double shift because one of the guys called in sick all week. I am crashing early." He stood up and smacked my knee. "You are good, though," he added. "Mom said you can stay as long as you need. She hates the idea of you in some nasty hotel." From the kitchen, Claire called out, "He is not staying in a nasty hotel when we have a whole room sitting empty." I looked toward her voice. My heart gave a small, strange jump at the way she said we. "I can head out tomorrow," I said, "once I check my place." "No rush," she answered, stepping into the doorway with a dish towel in her hands. "The storm is supposed to get worse tonight. It is better you are here than on those roads." Her eyes held mine for a second longer than felt casual. This house is big enough for one more person. Something in the way she said person made the air feel a little different. Mark missed it. He was already halfway up the stairs, calling over his shoulder. "Night, man. Try not to snore. My mom will blame me." "Good night," I called back. His bedroom door shut. The house grew quieter in a way I had never really felt before. It was just me and her now. Me, my best friend's mother, the soft tick of the clock on the wall, and the sound of wind rising outside. Claire wiped her hands one last time and hung the towel on the oven handle. She turned back to me. For the first time that night, there was no noise from the TV, no running water, no other footsteps. Just the 2 of us in the warm light of the living room. "You look tired," she said gently. "Long day. Long week," I said, rubbing my neck. She moved a little closer, not enough to cross any clear line, but enough that I could see the faint lines near her eyes, the way a loose strand of hair brushed her cheek. You can shower if you want, she said. Towels are in the hall closet. I will show you. As I followed her down the hall, I had this small, tight feeling in my chest. I told myself it was just from the long day, the storm, the stress. I did not know that by the time the night was over, one sentence from her would change the way I saw everything. Claire opened the closet in the hall and pulled out a clean white towel. She handed it to me with a small smile. There you go, she said. Bathroom is right there. She nodded to the door across from us. Extra soap and shampoo are in the cabinet if you need them. Thanks, I said. Really? For all of this? Her eyes met mine for a brief moment. You would do the same for Mark, she said. That is what friends are for. She turned and walked back toward the kitchen, bare feet soft on the hardwood. I watched her go for a second longer than I should have, then stepped into the bathroom and shut the door. The hot shower felt like the first real warmth I had felt all day. Steam filled the small room. I leaned my head against the tile and let the water hit my shoulders. Part of me tried to think through practical things. How long would repairs take? What would I do if the carpet was ruined? Another part of me kept replaying little moments from dinner. The way Claire said my name. The way she had looked at me when she said the house was big enough for one more person. I told myself to stop. She was my best friend's mom. End of story. That line had been in my head for years. It had kept everything neat and safe. Crossing it would not just be about me. It would pull her, Mark, all of us into something messy. I finished the shower, dried off, pulled my t-shirt and sweats back on, and padded down the hall. The guest room was small but neat. Bed made, fresh sheets, a small lamp on the nightstand, light gray walls with a framed print of mountains. It looked like the kind of room magazines called Simple and Calm. My backpack sat on the chair where Mark must have dropped it. I set my phone on the nightstand. A soft yellow glow came from under the door where the hall light was still on. From downstairs, I could hear the faint clink of dishes, then the running water stopped. I meant to get into bed right away. Instead, I found myself walking back down the stairs. Claire was in the kitchen, wiping down the counter. The dishwasher hummed softly. She had changed her sweater for a navy long-sleeve shirt. Her hair was twisted into a loose knot on top of her head. She looked up as I stepped into the doorway. Hey, she said. Everything okay? Towel's all right. Yeah, I said. Thank you. I am not great at going straight to sleep. She gave a small, understanding smile. Me either, she said. Night shifts at the clinic messed up my sleep years ago. She rinsed the cloth and hung it over the sink. Do you want some tea? Sure, I said. That would be nice. She filled the kettle and set it on the stove. The house was quiet around us. Outside, I could hear the wind picking up, rattling the branches against the side of the house. The porch swing creaked faintly. The storm the news had warned about was finally rolling in. She leaned against the counter while we waited, arms folded loosely. So, she said, how long have you been in that apartment? A little over a year, I said. It is not much, but it is mine. He laughed. At least it was mine before the pipe decided to drown it. She smiled. You will get it back, she said. Places can be fixed. People, too, most of the time. Most of the time, I repeated. You sound like someone who has seen a lot of both. Her eyes flicked to mine. I have, she said quietly. Patience, family, this house. You name it. The kettle whistled. She turned, poured hot water into 2 mugs, dropped a tea bag into each, then set one in front of me at the small kitchen island. I wrapped my hands around it, letting the heat soak into my fingers. You like honey? She asked. Yeah, I said. 2 years ago, Mark's mom had handed me honey with my tea when I had a cold. She remembered that now without asking. My chest gave a strange twist at that. She drizzled honey into my mug, stirred it, then did the same to hers. We both took careful sips. The tea was hot and slightly sweet. The wind hit the side of the house harder. Snow or rain, I could not tell, slapped against the window over the sink. The lights flickered once, then steadied. I glanced up. Do not worry, she said. We almost never lose power. Good lines in this neighborhood. You say that now, I said. My building loses power if someone plugs in a hairdryer too fast. She laughed softly. I do not miss apartments, she said. Though sometimes I miss being able to call someone and say, hey, the leak is your problem, not mine. She said leak, and both of us thought of my place at the same time. Her eyes softened. I am sorry you are dealing with that alone, she said. Denver is a big city when you do not have family close. I shrugged one shoulder. I have Mark, I said. And you, I added before I could stop myself. She stilled. For a second, the only sound was the kettle ticking as it cooled and the wind outside. Then she nodded once, like that answer meant more to her than I understood. You do, she said. You always will. We stood like that for a while, just drinking tea and listening to the storm. It was simple, but it did not feel small. There was a weight in the air I could not name. You should try to get some sleep, she said at last, setting her empty mug in the sink. Big day of. She waved a hand. Whatever help desk heroes do. I smiled. Reset passwords and explain the internet, I said. Very heroic. She smiled back, a little tired now. Good night, Jake, she said. Good night, Claire. Hearing her name in my own voice like that did something to me. I tried not to show. I went back upstairs, into the guest room, and turned off the light. I lay on my back staring at the ceiling while the storm picked up outside. The wind whistled around the house. Somewhere a tree branch scraped against the siding like fingers. I finally drifted off somewhere past midnight. The taste of honey still faint on my tongue and the image of her hands around that mug in my head. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee and something cooking. For a second, I forgot where I was. The ceiling here was clean and white. No water stains. No pipes. Voices carried up from downstairs. Mark's loud and easy. Claire's softer, steady. I pulled on jeans and a t-shirt and headed down. Mark sat at the table, shoveling scrambled eggs into his mouth. Claire stood at the stove, sliding another piece of toast onto a plate. Morning, man, Mark said through a mouthful. Mom made a full breakfast. Told you she would. Morning, I said. The kitchen smelled like eggs, toast, and fresh coffee. It felt like something my childhood never had. Claire turned, holding another plate. Morning, Jake, she said. Sleep okay? Yeah, I said. Better than at my place. No wet carpet smell. She gave a small smile. Sit, she said. Eat before Mark takes it all. I sat. She set a plate in front of me with eggs, toast, and a couple slices of bacon. She poured coffee into a mug and pushed the sugar toward me without asking. I took a sip. It was strong and smooth, exactly how I liked it. You working today? Mark asked. Yeah, I said. I can log in from my laptop. As long as your Wi-Fi can handle my heroic password resets. Our Wi-Fi is better than your whole building, Mark said. He grinned, then checked his phone. Oh, right, I almost forgot. He looked at his mom. I have to go out with Mike to Colorado Springs tonight. Boss wants us to pick up some parts and stay over. I told you yesterday. Claire nodded. Yes, you did. She looked calm, but something small flickered in her eyes. You will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, he said. Should not be too bad. Hotel, boring training, ugly carpet. He smirked. You sure you will be okay without me, Mom? She rolled her eyes. I think I can handle one night in my own house, she said. You are not 6. He laughed and looked at me. You are still good to stay here, right? He asked. I do not think your landlord is turning into a hero overnight. I checked my phone. I had a text from the landlord with a blurry picture of my soaked living room. Sorry, man. Might be a couple more days. Yeah, I said slowly. Looks like I am still homeless. Then you are staying, Mark said, like the matter was settled. You keep Mom company. She gets weird when it is too quiet. From the stove, Claire said, I heard that. Mark grinned. You were supposed to. She slid into the chair across from me with her own plate, coffee in hand. Her knee brushed the table, and the small contact made something in me tighten. I tried not to show it. I do not mind quiet, she said, but it will be nice to not worry about you driving back and forth in this weather. She looked at me. You are welcome here, Jake. Truly. For a second, the warm kitchen, the smell of breakfast, the sound of their voices made me feel like I was in the middle of something I had always wanted. A real home. A safe place. It hit me hard and fast. Thank you, I said. I mean it. After breakfast, Mark grabbed his jacket and keys. I will text you when we get there, he told his mom. Do not worry. I always worry, she said, but she smiled when she said it. Drive safe. He leaned down and kissed her cheek, then bumped my fist. Try not to burn the house down, he said. I will leave that to you, I answered. The front door shut behind him. His car backed out of the driveway and disappeared down the street. The house grew quiet in a way that felt different than the night before. This was not just Mark asleep upstairs. This was Mark gone. Just me and Claire in the storm building outside again. She stood for a moment in the entryway, looking at the closed door. Her shoulders dropped a little when she turned back toward the kitchen. Well, she said softly, guess it is just us. Just us. The words settled in the air between us. Outside, the wind pushed against the windows. Snow spun in the yard, white against the gray sky. I tried to tell myself this was no different than any other time I had been here. But for the first time, there was no safety net of Mark's footsteps on the stairs or his voice in the next room. There was only her and me and a long day ahead that none of us had planned for. I had no idea that, before the night ended, she would stand in front of me in that same kitchen, look me straight in the eyes, and say words that would make it impossible to see her as just my best friend's mom ever again. After Mark left, the house felt bigger. Claire stood by the front window for a moment, watching his car disappear down the street. Her hand rested lightly on the frame. When she turned back to me, her smile was small but real. "Do you need a place to work?" she asked. "You can use the dining table if you want. Wi-Fi is strong in there." "That would be perfect," I said. I set my laptop up at the long wooden table. The chair was comfortable, not like the hard office seats I was used to. My charger reached the outlet near the baseboard. From where I sat, I could see the kitchen and part of the living room. Claire moved around the kitchen, rinsing plates, loading the dishwasher, wiping the counter. Normal things. Still, I felt every small sound. The scrape of a drawer, the soft click of a cabinet, the clink of cups in the sink. I logged into my work system and opened my ticket queue. Password reset. Printer problem. Account locked. The usual list of small fires. Every few minutes she passed behind me, going from one room to another. Once she set a glass of water by my elbow without asking. Another time she reached for a stack of mail on the corner of the table and her fingers brushed my forearm. It was just a light touch, but my skin noticed. Around late morning, my stomach growled loud enough to embarrass me. She heard it from the doorway and smiled. "Hungry?" she asked. "A little," I said. "I can make a sandwich." "You do not have to, Jake," she cut in gently. "I am already in the kitchen. Let me." I watched her pull out bread, turkey, lettuce, mustard. Simple food, but the way she worked felt careful, not rushed. She made 2 sandwiches and added some chips and a sliced orange to each plate. "Sit," she said, bringing them to the table. "Take a break. Computer problems will still be there in 20 minutes. I set my headset down and sat across from her. The storm outside had gotten worse. Snow was falling thick now, covering the street in slow white layers. The sky was flat and gray. "So," she said, "you really do not have any family close?" "No," I said. "My parents are in Florida. They like golf and warm air. My sister is in Texas. She has 2 kids and no time." "That sounds far," she said quietly. "It is," I said. "I talk to them, sure, but it is not the same as being able to show up on a Sunday and eat with them." She nodded like she knew exactly what that felt like. "Do you ever think about moving back?" she asked. "Sometimes," I said. "But my life is here now. Work, friends, Mark. It would feel like running away." Her eyes moved over my face like she was reading something there. "You are a good friend to him," she said. "He has done more for me than he knows," I said. I meant it. When I first moved out here, it was Mark who helped me find furniture, gave me rides, dragged me out when I wanted to sit alone. He talks a lot, but he cares. Her mouth softened. "His father was like that," she said. "Big jokes, big heart." I watched her fingers twist the edge of her napkin. "Does it still feel strange?" I asked. "Some days, being here without him." Her eyes shifted to the window for a second, then back to me. "Every day," she said, "just in different ways." At first, the house felt too full of memories. Now sometimes it feels too empty of them. I did not know what to say to that at first. I looked at my plate, then back up. "You kept it going," I said. "For Mark. For yourself. That is not a small thing." She gave a short, quiet laugh. "Some days it felt like the only thing I knew how to do," she said. "Pay the bills. Cook dinner. Ask about his tests. Go to work. Come home. Repeat." She broke off a piece of her sandwich. Her voice dropped a little. "You forget, after a while," she said, "that you were ever anything else." "Anything else?" I asked. She shrugged one shoulder. "A woman," she said. "Not just a mom, not just a worker, just a person someone looks at and sees." Her cheeks colored a little. "Sorry, that sounded more dramatic than I meant." "No," I said quickly. It did not. It sounded honest. For a second, we just sat there, the storm pushing snow against the glass, the heater humming somewhere in the walls. "I see you," I almost said. "Not as Mark's mom. As you." The words sat heavy in my chest, but did not reach my mouth. Not yet. In the afternoon, she had a few clients at the clinic. I watched her pull on a simple black coat and lace her boots in the entryway. I will be back by 6 if the roads are not bad, she said. You will be okay. Yeah, I said. I will keep saving the world one password at a time. She smiled, then looked serious for a moment. Text me if you need anything, she said. Anything at all? I nodded. Yes, ma'am. She shook her head with a small smile. Claire, she reminded me softly. After she left, the house felt hollow. I worked through the afternoon while the storm kept growing. The light outside turned flat and dim. Snow piled high on the porch rail. Just before 5, my phone buzzed. It was her. Roads are getting bad, the message said. Leaving now. Be there soon. Another text came in a minute later from Mark. Made it to the hotel, he wrote. Ugly carpet, like I said. Tell Mom I am alive. Try not to let her adopt you for good. I smiled at the screen and sent back a joke. Underneath the joke, my heart hit a little harder at the word adopt. It was safer to think of it that way. Safer and not true at the same time. By the time Claire came back, it was dark. I heard her car in the driveway, the front door, the rush of cold air and snowflakes as she stepped inside. She shook her coat off and set her boots on the mat. She looked tired, but there was a lightness in her face when she saw me still sitting at the table. Hey, she said. You survived. You too, I said. How were the roads? Slow, she said, but pretty. White and quiet. She hung up her coat and moved into the kitchen. Want dinner? I helped her heat up leftover pasta and salad. We ate in the living room this time, plates on the coffee table, some old movie playing soft on the TV. Halfway through, the lights flickered once, then again. We both looked up. The heater clicked off. The house went still. Then the power went out. The TV screen went black. The hum of the fridge died. Only the storm and our own breath remained. Great, she said softly. That figures. You have candles? I asked. Lots, she said. Mark always teases me about them, but I win tonight. Stay here. I listened to her steps move through the dark. Drawers opened. A lighter clicked. 1, then 2, then 3 small flames showed in the room. She set thick candles on the coffee table and by the far wall. Warm light pushed back the shadows. It changed the room. The edges softened. The walls felt closer and more private. Claire sat on the end of the couch near me, tucking one leg under herself. In the candlelight, the lines on her face looked softer. Her hair had fallen a bit from its clip. A strand lay against her neck. Well, she said, at least it is not boring. We both laughed quietly. The storm howled outside, but inside the circle of light, everything felt still. Do storms bother you? She asked. Not really, I said. They bothered me more when I was a kid. Now I just worry about the Wi-Fi. She smiled. When Mark was little, she said, his dad used to sit with us on the couch during storms. We would count the time between the lightning and thunder. It made it feel like a game. Her eyes went distant, then came back. After he died, storms just felt like one more loud thing I could not control. She looked at the candles. Nights like this, she said quietly, the house feels very big. I watched her profile in the flicker. The strong line of her jaw. The soft curve of her mouth. It does not feel that big tonight, I said. Not with you here. Her eyes shifted to me. Something in them changed, softer and sharper at the same time. Jake, she said, you know this is not how things are supposed to go. What do you mean? I asked, though I knew. You are Mark's friend, she said slowly. I am his mother. I have lived a lot of years being those things. People like their boxes neat. Her fingers played with the edge of the blanket on the couch. Her voice dropped lower. But all day I have been walking around this house, and it has not felt like it usually does, she said. It does not feel like I am just moving through rooms to keep them clean for someone else. It feels like someone is really here with me. She lifted her eyes again. They did not look past me or through me. They looked right at me. I could hear my heart in my ears. My mouth felt dry. I am here with you, I said. Not just as Mark's friend who needed a bed. I could have gone anywhere, but I wanted to be here. Her breath caught just a little. That small sound felt louder than the wind. Do you have any idea, she asked, how long it has been since someone chose being here with me for me? Not just because I make dinner or keep a roof over their head. I swallowed. I wanted to reach for her hand and was scared to move. Claire, I said, I do not see you as just Mark's mom. She held my gaze. The candles flickered. Shadows moved along the walls. Then what do you see? She asked, barely above a whisper. I took a breath. The truth felt heavy, but simple. I see a woman who works hard, who keeps this house together, who still remembers how I take my coffee after one time, I said. I see someone strong and kind and more alone than she admits. I see you. For a long second, she did not speak. Her eyes shone. Her jaw trembled just once. She shifted closer on the couch. The space between our knees disappeared. Her hand lifted, then stopped in the air like she was asking herself one last question. This is not fair to you, she said. Or to Mark. Or to anyone. You are young. You could be out with girls your own age, not trapped in the dark with a woman who forgot she was allowed to feel anything for herself. I shook my head. I am not trapped, I said. I am here because I want to be. Her hand came down, resting very lightly on my arm. Her fingers were warm. Even that small touch sent a shiver through me. She searched my face like she needed to be sure I was not lying to her, to myself, to anyone. Then she leaned in just a little, close enough that I could see the tiny gold flecks in her brown eyes. Jake, she said, her voice low and steady in the candlelight, for tonight, I need you to understand something. What? I asked, my own voice almost gone. I am not just a mom tonight. When she said it, the room felt smaller. I am not just a mom tonight. The words hung between us like they were part of the storm too. The wind hit the windows. The candles shook a little, but the flames stayed. My chest felt tight. Not in a bad way. In the way you feel when you are about to do something that will change how you see yourself. Claire's hand was still on my arm. Her fingers pressed into my skin just a little, like she was trying to make sure this was real. I swallowed. Claire, I said, my voice low. Do you know what you were saying to me? Her eyes did not move from mine. Yes, Jake, she said. I know. I have thought myself out of it 100 times. Tonight, I am letting myself say it once. She looked down for a second, then back up. I am tired of only being a mom, or a widow, or the woman who makes dinner and pays bills, she said. All those things are real. I am not pretending they do not matter. But for once, I want someone to look at me and see more than that. Tonight that someone is you. That scares me, and it feels good at the same time. My throat felt dry. I could have made a joke. I could have backed away. Instead, I said the only thing that felt true. I see you, I said softly. I see you as a woman, not just as Mark's mom. I have for a long time. Her breath shook just a little. She did not look shocked. She looked like she had been waiting for those words and was finally hearing them out loud. This is wrong, she said. It breaks rules people like to keep neat. You are my son's best friend. You are younger. People would talk. They would say cruel things. Do you care what they say? I asked. She thought about that for a long second. Her eyes went to the window, then back to me. I care what Mark feels, she said. I care what you feel. Strangers are easy to forget. My son is not. You are not. The weight of that hit me. I took a slow breath. I do not want to hurt him, I said. But I also do not want to lie about what is happening right now. Not to you. Not to myself. Her hand slid from my arm down to my hand. She laced her fingers between mine. Her palm was warm and firm. Then do not lie, she said quietly. Not to me. Tell me what you want. Not what you think a good guy is supposed to say. What you actually want. My heart hammered against my ribs. I looked right at her. I want to be close to you, I said. I want to hold you. I want to kiss you. I want you to feel like you are seen. But I do not want to be something you wake up hating in the morning. Her lips trembled into a small smile. Her eyes shone in the candlelight. Jake, she said, if I hated myself for wanting to feel alive again, that would have happened a long time ago. I am not a kid. I know what this is. I know it is not simple. But I do not feel ashamed sitting here with you. That tells me something. I shifted closer on the couch. Our knees pressed together now. I could feel the heat from her body. My hand tightened around hers. Are you scared? I asked. Yes, she said right away. Then she smiled faintly. But I am more scared of going back to feeling like a ghost in my own house. I let out a breath I did not know I was holding. Me too, I said. She lifted her free hand, slow and careful, and touched my face. Her fingertips brushed my jaw, my cheek, like she was memorizing each line. No one had ever touched me like that before. Not in that quiet, serious way. If you want to stop, say it, she said. I will listen. We go back to tea and small talk. I will never make you feel bad for it. I shook my head. I do not want to stop, I said. I just want to be careful with you. She let out a soft, shaky laugh. You and you're careful, she said. You are so young, and you still worry about everyone else first. She leaned in. The world outside the candles faded out. There was no storm in that moment. No power outage. No landlord. No hotel. No labels. Just her and me on that couch. Our faces were inches apart now. Her breath was warm on my lips. I could see every tiny line at the corner of her eyes, every light freckle on her nose. "Can I kiss you?" I asked. Her answer was simple. "Please," she said. I closed the space between us. The kiss was not wild or fast. It was slow, careful, almost shy at first. Her lips were soft and sure. Her hand slid to the back of my neck. My free hand found her waist, felt the curve there through the soft fabric of her shirt. For a moment, everything inside me went quiet. No noise. No guilt. Just the feeling of her and the rush of warmth that came with it. When we pulled back, both of us were breathing a little harder. She rested her forehead against mine, eyes closed. "Okay," she whispered. "That was not nothing." "No," I said. "It was not." We stayed like that for a while. We kissed again, a little deeper this time. We talked between kisses. Small, honest things. "This feels strange," she said once. "Good strange?" I asked. "Good strange," she said. "Very good." We did not rush anything. We did not jump up and run to another room. We stayed there on that couch, wrapped in a blanket, close and warm, letting our hands find each other, letting our bodies relax into the space we had just opened. At some point, the storm outside started to calm. The sound on the windows softened. The candles burned lower. We shifted so that I was leaning back against the arm of the couch, and she was curled against my chest, her head near my shoulder, her hand resting flat over my heart. I traced light circles on her back over her shirt. She sighed, this deep, honest sound, like a weight had slipped off her. I think that was the moment I realized how heavy that weight had been for her all these years. "We are going to have to pay for this at some point," she said quietly into my shirt. "I know," I said, "but I do not regret being here with you." She was quiet for a long time after that. I could feel her breathing. Slow. Even. Then she said, "Thank you." "For what?" I asked. "For not treating me like I am broken or wrong just because I want something for myself," she said. "For seeing me as a woman and not making a joke or running away. You have no idea what that means to me." I swallowed hard. My throat felt thick. "You are not broken," I said. "You were just alone." "I was too." She squeezed my hand. I do not remember falling asleep. I just remember candlelight and the sound of her breathing and the warmth of her body against mine. Then there was nothing. I woke up to soft light pressing against my eyelids. The room was quiet. The candles were just small pools of wax. The TV screen was dark, but the heater was on again. At some point in the night, the power had come back. Claire was still there, tucked against me. Her cheek rested on my chest. Her hair was a mess over her face. For a moment, I just watched her, feeling her weight, her warmth. It felt unreal and more real than anything at the same time. Then her eyes opened. She looked up at me. For a second, we were just two people waking up close together. "Morning," she said softly. Her voice was rough with sleep. "Morning," I said. The memory of last night rushed back between us. Her words. Our kiss. The quiet way we had held each other. I saw it land in her eyes too. We both sat up slowly. The blanket fell to our laps. The room looked different in daylight. Less secret, more exposed. "We should get up," she said. "Mark will be home this afternoon." "Yeah," I said. We straightened the couch, folded the blanket, carried the empty mugs to the sink. It felt a little like cleaning up after something we were not supposed to have, but there was no shame in her face. Just a sober kind of calm. In the kitchen, she poured coffee. We stood on opposite sides of the counter, mugs in our hands, the smell of the brew filling the space. "Last night happened," she said at last. Her eyes were on her cup. "Yeah," I said. "It did." She looked up at me. "I am not going to pretend it was just the storm or the dark or that I did not know what I was doing," she said. "I meant every word. I do not regret it. But I need you to hear this, Jake. I will always be Mark's mother. That will never change. I cannot risk breaking him." I nodded. "I understand," I said. "I do not want to hurt him either." She took a slow breath. "We cannot tell him," she said. "At least not now. Maybe not ever. I do not know. We need time to understand what this even is." "What do you want it to be?" I asked. She gave a small, sad smile. "I want it to be simple and clear," she said. "But life has not cared much about what I want so far. For now, I just want to know this is not a story you will walk away from like it never happened." I stepped closer. My heart was beating fast again, but but my voice was steady. I will not pretend this did not matter, I said. I care about you, Claire. Last night just pulled that feeling out where I can see it. Even if we decide this cannot go anywhere, I am not going to file you under one weird night and move on. Some of the tension in her shoulders eased. Thank you, she said. She reached out and touched my cheek again, quick and gentle, like a goodbye and a promise at the same time. The rest of the day we moved around each other like two people learning a new language. There were no more kisses, no more long touches. But every time our hands brushed, every time our eyes met, something quiet passed between us. In the early afternoon, we heard a car in the driveway, tires on wet pavement, a door slam. Mark's voice floated through the cold air. Mom, Jake, I am back. My stomach clenched. I looked at Claire. She met my eyes and gave a tiny nod. Her hand brushed my forearm once, a small steadying touch. Then she stepped away toward the hall. Welcome home, she called, her voice back in that warm mom tone. How was the ugly carpet? He came in with his duffel, bag on his shoulder, snow in his hair, grin wide. Worst carpet ever, he said. You would have hated it, Jake. I laughed. Tried to sound normal. Tried to keep my hands from shaking. We talked about his trip. We joked. We ate leftover pasta again. On the surface, everything was the same. He was my best friend. She was his mom. I was the guest with the broken place across town. But under all of that, something had shifted. When I stood to wash my plate, Claire's fingers brushed the back of my hand for half a second longer than needed. When I thanked her for letting me stay, her eyes met mine with a new depth only I could read. That night, I lay in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the muffled sounds of the house. Mark's footsteps in his room, a door closing, the hum of the heater. Somewhere down the hall, Claire moving through her space. If I had left 10 minutes earlier that first night, I never would have stayed at his house. If my ceiling had not flooded, I never would have slept in this guest room. If the power had not gone out, I might never have seen her in that candlelight, open and honest and brave. My name is Jake. I am 23. My best friend left me at his house during a winter storm when my own apartment was falling apart. That night, in the quiet glow of candles and the sound of wind, his mom looked at me, touched my face, and said, I am not just a mom tonight. She was right. She is Claire. A woman who held a house and a son and a life together while the world forgot to ask what she needed. Now, no matter what happens next, no matter how careful we have to be, part of my life is tied to hers. And I know one thing for sure. Every time the sky turns gray and the wind pushes against my window, I will remember the storm that changed the way I see her, the way I see myself, and the way a house can stop feeling so big when two people finally decide to really be there in it together.
If this story stayed with your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.